Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, quick news. Miles Bridges is headed back to Charlotte for a one-year deal for $7.9 million. Qualifying offer, make him a free agent next year. Makes all the sense in the world. Just do another, you know, tour run, basically, for one season. Remind everybody of who it was you were before the problems, and you'll be right up there ready to get the money that you should have got. This dude was one of the more complete players of the year that year. That's why this is a damn shame. He was set to make all kinds of money. The good thing that you feel about this risk is that he's not particularly injury prone. Obviously, taking a year off, you got to be concerned, but maybe not, considering he's one of those super special athletes that can do things that only 1% of human beings can do. So because he's one of those, I feel real confident he's going to come back on the court. Probably have to get back in shape throughout the course of the year. By the end of the season, if he has a healthy season, he'll be the same player he's been. What is he, 24, 25 years old? So, yeah, the only concern I really have for him is injuries. That's literally it. If it comes down to him trying to get a role on the team, he's going to be the starter. He's that good. So it's not a concern. They don't have a better power forward than him. With all due respect to PJ Washington, he ain't better than him. So that's kind of how that goes. I know they want to bring in Brandon Miller. I could argue Brandon's better than him, but in a different way. So they should probably be on the floor together. I don't know if you re-sign PJ Washington, although he's a good player to have, sort of like D'Angelo Russell, with the intention of bringing him back at a good contract and having the flexibility to move him or keep him. But if they want to really do something, they probably do a sign and trade, send him out and get something back for him, and then feature Miles Bridges even more so. That way, if he plays a hell of a role to start the season, maybe if they don't want to re-sign him themselves, they can trade him to a team who likely will at the deadline for picks and a huge load because he's that good. So it's a lot of flexibility that can come from him signing a one-year deal for both sides. Low risk, high reward. $7 million for him is a good pay for the circumstances that he's in. So it's not like he's taking back too little for what it is you expect for him to be working with based on the attachments to his name. If he plays up to his real potential, he's arguably a $30 million a year guy, maybe more. Honestly, maybe more. So whatever Kuzma got, more than that kind of thing. So that's what I'd say about him. I don't think there's really a limit on what his potential is. The only thing I'm worried about is, did he fall out of shape over the last year? Did he is that going to affect his athleticism in any way? Not having played, has he been working out? That's really what it is. Has he been drinking? Did he pick up any habits he shouldn't have during the stress of circumstances? Because he wasn't the most mature guy in the world. That was the problem. So his maturity has it made him a better guy, a worse guy, more mature guy? Is there any grow up? Has he grown up? Or are we gonna have to deal with more antics from him, social media stuff like that ultimately made him found him in a situation where this could be the case, I'd imagine. So that's really what I'm saying there. Hopefully he gotten his house in order and is ready to get back to being a pro in this league. If not, they will kick him out just as quick as he got suspended. There ain't gonna be too much going on for repeat offenders and stuff like that. Not to say that I wasn't aware that his situation was a bit unique, but at the same time, it's like you just got to keep your house in order at the end of the day. Speaking of stuff like that, I've noticed something. I don't know if anybody's noticed. The New Orleans Pelicans have kind of snuck through this free agency without trading Zion Williamson. All that talk about them trading Zion, all this stuff going on around him, going to Portland, all that. You see, they just kind of just simply did it low key. And I do mean low key. It's almost like they were talking about it and it's just like, shh. Let's just pretend we traded him and didn't. That's what it looks like they're doing in New Orleans, unless something pops off that I don't expect. But it doesn't look like they're going to trade Zion. It's a good decision. I told you guys about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I made a video stating that I think that getting rid of Zion Williamson could potentially be a mistake. Because if he does come into this season healthy, he's going to remind everybody what his value truly is. And you're going to be trading him for a lot less than that right now. So if you are intent on trading him, you shouldn't do it before the season starts, in my opinion, unless he's out to start the season as to which you can't trade him anyway. So either way, no trade there. Getting back Scoot Henderson could potentially have been a good thing, but not necessarily. Not when you consider how young Zion still is and what he's already proven. Nah, not really. I respect it, but I can respect not doing it just the same. I would much rather them play together rather than trade them for one another. So, yeah, I noticed that. They didn't do it. Now, does that mean that they're not going to do it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but I know that all that talk about Zion being traded has gone quiet, and he's still with the New Orleans Pelicans. And as I've said about other things that I would probably be expected to do, but just simply wouldn't want to do, I just sneak on by, and oops, I forgot to do that. I forgot to trade Zion. Oh my God, that's one of those type of things. That's one of those. So I'm letting y'all know right now that I don't think that's necessarily an indicator that he's not going to be out of New Orleans. I'm just saying that they didn't trade him right now, and it's probably the right idea. So that's what I see there. I know I talked about Jackson Hayes going to the Lakers, but it's almost like I don't remember when I found out he went to us. I think it was early this morning. They said they announced it, but it seemed to me that I talked about it last night, so I'm not really sure. But Jackson Hayes is a Laker. I'm pretty happy about it. He's going to help us with a lot of things in regards to catching lobs, rim protection. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this with you guys. It just seemed like I knew about it before it happened. So I don't know, whatever. But point is, he's a hell of a prospect. I think that ultimately my expectations for him are a bit limited because he is a player that's kind of not going to stretch the floor for you, not overly talented in any area, but it's a specimen that needs development. And he's raw just like Bamba. Now, the conversation earlier I was listening to is, do I want to see them both on the same team if I have to rely on both of them? I just think that you have to understand that if you're going to invest in a center position, you can't invest too much into it because it's not a valuable position in general right now. But if you do want to invest in it, you should probably invest in young players that are getting better, who can rim protect, who are rim protect and are pretty much interchangeable for one another. Now, both of them are that. The only problem I have is Bamba. I don't know if I trust him to stay healthy. Hayes, I don't know if I trust him to stay healthy. Both of these guys have had injury issues. I expect for both of them to miss games. Throughout the season, I expect to be without both of them. So I don't want to invest in both of them too heavily when I don't expect either one of them to really be there potentially when I need them the most. So that's what it really comes down to. And plus, coach. Will Darvin Ham play these guys up to their values? We talk about value all day long. Is he going to play them up to their value? The answer is probably not. Judging by how he used Bamba last year and how he used his bigs, nah. He going to want to use Gabe Vincent. He going to want to use D'Angelo Russell. The smaller the player, the more they see the floor. So if I know that, then I don't want us to invest too much in our center position. So getting Bamba back at a vet minimum, bringing in Jackson Hayes at a minimum, knowing that I have Rui who could potentially play some five, knowing that I got Vando who in certain situations can play some five, even though I don't really like that. Bron, certain situations, again, don't like that. AD's going to play the five, obviously, whether he likes it or not. We don't necessarily want him to do anything he doesn't like to do, but it is what it is. And Castleton. Castleton is a young prospect that I think with his style of play is going to earn his playing time. If not this year, when he's ready, he will be out there with somebody, I think. So, we got some answers that we can potentially throw at the situation. Plus, I got this idea that I think is the right idea for what the era is. You need you need rim protection real bad if most of your players are small. But if most of your players are 6'5" or taller, it's going to be rim protection by committee in most situations. And because everybody else is bigger, you're going to be able to have size advantages on guards that will help overcome the fact that you don't necessarily have size advantages in the paint. If they're, with the rim protection. So it's like, yeah, you're giving up some rim protection, but not necessarily you're rebounding because you're going to be over-rebounding over these guards that they have. Just like their center's going to be rebounding over you, you're going to have advantages against their guards. So it's going to be a thing where it's just a theory for me where if everybody is of like height tall, then maybe I can live without necessarily having the rim protection because I'll be able to overpower them in other areas. I don't know if that necessarily works, but I'm telling you that that's just a theory that I think that most of the league's probably running with right now, which is why a lot of guys I've listened to don't think we need to invest in another center, as they think because everybody's 6'5" or taller except for Gabe Vincent, that we're going to be big anyway. But then I would tell them to go study the series 2 years ago between the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers, where I said the same damn thing about the Toronto Raptors coming in against Joel Embiid, and he ate their lunch. real bad, and he was hurt doing so. Still beat them because he was just simply too big for all of those 6'8" guys to have any success against. Now maybe you would argue they had a small point guard in Fred VanVleet, which kind of negate what I'm talking about. But I think Gabe Vincent's going to be on the floor for a lot of what we do too. Now maybe you argue they don't have Anthony Davis. Fair. But at the end of the day, are we sure we will too? Because we know how he is. He's missing games. So it's like, I want to make sure our front court can rim protect for sure. I would like him to be able to hit shots. I know Bamba can. That does make me happy. But Bamba's a guy who, even if he starts playing well, I'm just waiting for the next injury. And when he's injured, he's going to be out for 6 months. So it's like, okay, man, that's why I don't look at him as the best young prospect for me in this situation. Hayes, for sure. And I'm glad he's on the tab. Bamba makes me feel like I'm going to need another center. Bamba's going to make me feel like calling up Castleton early. You know what I mean? Just to make sure. That's the problem. So I like Bamba. I like Bamba for us, but I'm probably going to end up moving Bamba soon if he has, if I feel the need, whatever the case. If he comes in and is not a very great backup for us, if whatever the case may be, I would be looking to move that prospect. And I still see him as a prospect, but it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not going to feature him. Not the way he going to want to be featured. Not with Jackson Hayes in place and Anthony Davis. So that's why it's like, all right, do I need Bamba? Yes. Do I choose between him and Beasley? I'm still probably going to choose Bamba, but I understand why maybe some would go with Beasley. I can see why some would. I would not. Because at the end of the day, Beasley's a player who struggles so much that I don't think it really makes any sense to bring him back. Plus, if you're trying to help your shooting, in theory, Bamba's a three-point shooter who's 7 feet tall, so it's not like he's hurting that. And so that's what I think. If you can utilize Bamba's strengths and respect that he is a shooting center, then you can utilize him very well and not ask him to kind of be Jackson Hayes. Because Jackson Hayes is an energy guy who ain't shooting, dunking the ball, wild block shots and stuff like that, put back dunks like that, stuff like that he's going to do a lot of, and I think Bamba's going to try to do the opposite of that. He's going to shoot the ball, he's going to do pirouettes, he's going to, mid-range jumper, stuff like that. So I just wonder if Bamba's in the best situation, or do I not need another center who's more like Jackson Hayes in this situation? Do I need Jackson Hayes and a younger version of JaVale McGee? Some people say JaVale McGee. No, I'd rather have Bamba. I'm going with the younger guy every time. I know JaVale won a championship with us, but I'm not interested in digging in the past for guys. I'm not, man. Give me somebody that I know can still do it, or someone who's about to be able to do it. I would rather us go after a Bruno Fernando or something like that, rather than find myself trying to go into the past for anything. Dwight Howard, I feel the same way. No thank you, bro. You're exactly where you need to be, fam. Tearing up overseas. So, we ain't going in the past. So that's why I'm like, all right, if we can get Bamba back for the cheap, it's probably the easiest way to go. I'm a Paul Reed guy, but I think he's undersized. He's probably going back to Philly or something like that. Probably already signed. And the rest of those guys on the free agency market don't look very good to me. So I would be looking to trade for a center. And I'm not really looking to make any trades because I love what our roster looks like right now. So it's like, all right, if I'm going to make a trade, it's likely going to be a big one. It's not going to be nothing small. So that's the problem. It's like, just get us Bamba back and just solidify the fact that we have 3 centers. Consider Castleton one of them and cross your fingers that he can really do something. Otherwise, it's going to be Rui at the 5. trying to guard Jokic, and we going to have issues with that. So, some of these dudes that we would rather have, like Jonas Valanciunas, they're on contracts you do not want. That's the problem. Zubats, who am I moving to bring in Zubats, and what am I doing to the Clippers? if I'm giving them like D'Angelo Russell on top of what they already got, I don't think so. I'm not going to do nothing like that. So, yeah, I want to also say that I feel a lot better looking at us drafting Jalen Hood-Schifino when I look at what's going on in the immediate present in regards to the point guard position. In a nutshell, when you zoom all the way out, that is not a good thing to be looking at. You know what I'm saying? In regards to why you draft a person. But just for our immediate fit, boy, was it necessary